have my book already?
Hey everybody!
Already here.
We are here.
Is that my book?
No, it's my book.
This is mine.
It's okay, we can all share it. It's a general idea anyway. So we are starting Gucci Man.
On her book.
My mom's looking for her book. She may have left it, she may not have. She doesn't really know.
Yes. Has disappeared.
Okay, so Gucci Man is the book we're reading. We're reading that first part. We're going to read it in 3 sections. It's, a lot of the other books we read were funnier. They had more of a, they were funnier or maybe more endearing, but I feel like this is a good book. It tells a good story because reality is, if you're, look at all these ants. Sorry. The reality is like, when I read that first part, I felt like this could be any young man in America living in a certain area that is maybe giving them less options, and we'll go into where they live. And I think it is hard to read a little bit because you realize, oh, this could be my son, this could be could have been my, in my case, I'm like, yes, this could be my husband. You know what I mean? I mean, in everybody's case, it's something different, or you might be like, oh my gosh, like this could have been my cousin, or this could, so that makes it a little hard to read. Not because it's hard to read, but just a part of it is like, he's telling the truth about his life and about choices that he made, and they're all choices that you really don't want your kids to make.
No.
Or your loved ones. Oh, okay, it's my mom's book. Never mind. I gotta find my book. Hold on, everybody. So I will say, like, it's not like how the other books were that had a lot more funny story. You get involved in every chapter. It is like an autobiography that's leading up to his life. It's leading up to something, and we gotta remember the reason why we picked this book. It's a good outcome. His life ends up being great. I've been watching a lot of interviews about him. He's married. He loves his wife. He's very devoted to her. And even when he made, like, let's just say shitty decisions, because and he'll admit to it. I've made a lot of shitty decisions. I've hurt a lot of people. Some of it was super bogus. I try to apologize to them now that I'm on a different steps. Some of it I feel like is justified, and I'm not looking for you for an apology. Looking to give you an apology. Because it is kind of like the world where some people just need that, and other people you shouldn't really have crossed. That wasn't necessary.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Some of it was his own family,
Yes,
so.
because when the thing is, Gucci Man was 9 years old. He got moved into a new city. It was Atlanta. It was a hard area.
Yeah, he originally
Super
from
hard.
Alabama.
Yeah, he's originally from an area
Small
where
town,
it's small town.
Alabama.
Everybody's on the porch. Everybody knows everybody.
Eating pig, feeding, drinking.
Yeah, and
And his dad comes and visits with his big Cadillac,
Yeah.
and he's
He's
like
impressed with
Gucci.
that.
That's why he was Gucci Man, but he
Yeah.
didn't know. He
went
thought his dad was
overseas and
rich.
stuff, and got all familiar with the different fashions and thought he
because he was in the
really
military. His
something.
father, no, it was his grandpa.
It was his great.
And then it got passed on to
To
his
his
dad, and then it got passed on to him and a cousin of his.
Yeah.
And he had that idea that he's rich, but when they moved to Atlanta, they saw he's just about, more or less.
Didn't have
He had a
enough.
different family, then he let them go and stayed with them for a while and was hustling. He wasn't rich, he was a hustler, and he
Yes,
lost
he
his
was.
touch for hustling.
Yes. So I just put a timer on. That's what I was going to. Just because I don't want it to cut off. Because I do feel like this book is really super important. It is a good thing to talk about. It is a great thing to read with a young person because they are unless you're living in Hollywood or some gated community, this is a life that can touch you in one way or another. Because these are just young people choosing to make money. That's kind of how it starts off. He's got a choice. His brother is like a hustler. He's into sports. He's going to get his way with sports. Going to get a scholarship. That's what he's into. Gucci Man's not into that. Not because he's not good at it. Because he'd rather have money.
Yeah,
But a lot of people are like that.
Getting the money. He
Yeah.
said he didn't want to focus on sports or anything, but he knew
And he
when
could
he got
have.
older, he wanted to have some money and nice clothes and nice car.
So the thing that I want to say is when he was growing up, they lived in Alabama. It has like some really great pictures. I like these pictures of him. I think they're cute.
When he was younger.
And he's everybody's favorite.
And you notice how he dedicated the book to his maternal grandfather and paternal grandmother. So it was separate there, like where he got along better with the grandpa on his dad's side and the grandma, so it is not a
When
bad
Gucci
book.
lived in the country, he stayed with the grandfather, who he's very close to. But he used to ride his bike to his grandma's house all the time. He used to get in trouble for it because they'd seen it as a faraway place. But he was her favorite too. And he was, as a young kid, I would say he I don't know how to describe it except for like it's a firstborn syndrome type thing. Like the firstborn's always like, my brother does this too. He tries to please the people in the family. He's really outgoing. He's going to sit there and be patient and do whatever. Where maybe me and Bernie were more like, all right, whatever, we're going to go outside and play. Go ahead and fold your dirty underwears and put your tea bag on the side of the cup. We're outside playing. You keep pretending to be perfect. But not that he was pretending to be perfect. He was just like, he liked to sit there and just be entertained with them and by them.
Yeah. And his mom was a teacher, so he learned how to
Very
read
smart,
at
very
an early
smart.
age
Yes.
and everything, so that kind of introduced him into managing words a little better than others.
Yes. And then, so this first section is pretty much, he's a young child, he's in Alabama, they moved to Atlanta. But I also wanted to touch base on that, like his family loved him in Alabama. His mom moved to Atlanta just because, on the simple fact that when the grandpa died, all the kids wanted that house, which is the type of crap that always happens when people die. People want things more than they want to stay a family. Then they got so physical, like the sisters were beating each other up so much that finally she was like, we just gotta go. And then she was gonna leave with the kid's dad, but that didn't work out because he didn't show. And then she left with a friend that she went to church with. And he had a wife and everything.
They ended up getting back together.
Yeah, and she wasn't trying to be with him on that level.
It's just friends.
Yeah, he was just helping her out as a friend, and then because
so it was a problem.
She
The other woman wasn't though enthused about that.
Her staying with them, yeah.
But because the mom was like, I don't want to create a problem in their relationship, she moved out before she had money saved, before she was ready, and that was the beginning of them living in a very hard environment. They went to live in a hotel for a year. A whole year they went to the hotel. Then they went to Zone 6. Is that what they called it?
That's what it is.
So I guess it was
well, his dad, actually, they called his dad, and he came up off the money to put them in a hotel room because he was living in Atlanta at the time and stuff. So he came off the money, and they stayed there for a year, and then they ended up getting an apartment and stuff. It wasn't the best, but it was better than the hotel, I guess.
And I just want to touch on this very first chapter. The thing that's so interesting about government and politics, they wanted to have the Olympics in Atlanta, but they had a lot of crime in Atlanta. So then what they started to do, instead of fixing things to reduce the crime, they just downplayed the crime, didn't file all the reports. And then again, that kind of creates an environment again where maybe you feel like
it's okay to do it.
Yeah, they're not really.
We ain't gonna get in no
It
trouble.
gives you a free pass.
Olympics,
So I don't know if that had something to do with it too, but I know Atlanta is a very busy place. It used to be like a place where all the railroads came together. Is that what I read?
Yeah, he said it was it's a big city.
And that created, so the Atlanta kind of always was a place where, I don't know, maybe some type of trafficking was always going on, whether it was liquor back in the days or, you know what I mean?
The city became quickly
like a
a
gateway,
primary
right?
transit hub for the southeast, with rail lines ran through north, east, south, and west. Even after the railroads were destroyed during the Civil War, Atlanta's identity as a mecca for transport lived on. The rails were replaced by an interstate highway connecting cities in every direction, a spaghetti junction.
Yeah.
Atlanta got a history of moving people and things. Drug trafficking is a natural part of that history.
And then I'm just going to read this little paragraph. The folks at City Hall couldn't accept that Atlanta needed the Olympics, so as part of the effort of downplaying the city dark underbelly, the police department started underreporting crime. Violent crimes were downgraded to misdemeanors, and other police reports were being thrown away altogether. This went on for years. You know, like that, I mean, I'm not some of the crap people pick you up for is stupid anyway, so I don't believe in all this crazy going to jail all the time. But if you don't regulate something, like it's just the beginning of something crazy. Plus crack came around.
Yes.
You know, it was just like a mixture of all these things that made that kind of probably erupt a little bit into some super violent crap.
Super violent.
Because it sounds like it was terribly rough for him for many, many years.
Yeah, the 80s and stuff brought about, you know, at first he started doing little nickel bags of weed for his brother and this and that, and it just progressed to something else.
And then there was this thing with these child murders too, where they
Yeah,
think
Atlanta
they caught
child
him, but they
murders.
didn't know, and that was a
Lame.
creepy thing. And then it also says, my new surroundings were so aggressive. The people in it seemed so vicious and cruel. Like you got to think, this is a 9-year-old perspective on a new environment that you put him in. When he used to be in an environment where he rode his bike
anywhere
he
stayed
wanted
out
to
all
anybody's
night
house
long.
and never felt like there was violence or cruelty or
Yes.
something aggressive going to happen to him. And then all of a sudden he was like in high alert all the time, like constantly worrying about things.
Yes.
Yeah. As far as I can
Anxiety-driven.
remember, I really just wanted to get me some money. And this is the beginning. And now he's 9 years old, and this is his thought process. Not long after we left Alabama, my father made friends with a guy named Tony from Philadelphia. He taught Tony the ins and outs of dope game, and in return, Tony put him onto the con game. 3-card Molly, pigeon drop, shaking the pea, all sorts of trickery and bullshit. You know, so like moving to Atlanta, being close to his dad, kind of like made the reality set in on what my dad really is and what he really does. But he also like doesn't see it like as it's bad until he sees like what bad becomes of it, because he's a drunk. He's got to drink a bottle of gin before he leaves the house. He's drinking 3 pints of gin a day.
He really was a con artist. So
But his liquor destroyed
game of
everything.
passion was tricking people out of their money. You know, he would do the 3-card Molly, the pea in the shell, everything. He had a hustle and was just a smooth talker and everything. So some of the lyrics that you might hear from Gucci, he got from his dad. You know, he was such a smooth talker, and he was always conning people. That was his game. But pretty soon he started drinking so much that he couldn't even, you know, trick nobody anymore. Couldn't make no money and stuff. They all like, get your drunk self on somewhere. Wasn't nobody falling for it anymore.
Yeah, he doesn't get his game on with people who really have money. He does it at these cheap places like
in the gas
cheeseburger.
station, the cheeseburger joint.
So he tells her, ma'am, you must have miscounted my money. I gave you a $50 bill or whatever. And, you know, and he talks eloquent and nicely. And
Ma'am, I don't think you gave me the
Because he's using his southern charm in city life to gain advantage and trust, and that's why his cons work.
And then this poor girl in the evening has to put her own
Our
money
money
in.
back in to make up for it.
So I'm gonna read a couple things here, and then we're gonna move on. But I'm on 22. I learned a lot being around my father. He taught me all his little tricks, but what he was really teaching me was how to size people up, how to read body language, and how to use that information for my benefit. And that's why, like, he's a good hustler, or was a good hustler when that was his main thing.
When he wasn't drunk.
Yeah.
Or he wasn't drunk.
Yeah, but I'm just talking about Gucci now.
Yeah.
So this is the things that Gucci learned, and that really is a very important skill if you're in the streets, because you got to know what you're dealing with, because people aren't going to tell you what you're dealing with. You got to figure that out on your own. So he had that advantage from an early age. His dad taught him that. And then I was going to say, like, his dad's vice was gambling. He was a gambler, and that's why he could never produce it financial revenue to his family, because his problem was gambling, and then it got really bad, and then his other problem was drinking.
But even his hands were softer than my mama's. You know,
Because he's just
He never
gambling.
did any hard work.
He didn't bother with
just did
manual
some kind-
labor.
Yeah, he never did no hard work. He's just kind people.
And then on page 23 it says his other vice was the sauce. My father got drunk every day, morning, noon, and night. Before he'd even leave the house, he'd put down a pint of cheap gin. You know, so this is what he's getting out of life. He was in that.
His you know, what he looks up to, what he grows up with, the poor kid.
And it seemed like he still tried to get them shoes and chains and stuff. Like they said, he won $20,000.
When he lost, he lost. Yeah.
And it didn't take but a couple of days for that to be gone. But he was still a giving person. He would still give his son them gold chains, shoes, or whatever and stuff. But he still would end up losing that money because he gambled.
So I'm just going to go to page 24. All of that was a reality check. I learned young that if I ain't got shit, then I just got shit. And if I want something in life, I would have to find a way to get it myself. And I mean, if this is your mentality, you are going to hustle. You are going to find a way to make a way. He wasn't always illegal things. He used to collect cans. I used to collect cans. I used to take out people's trash as a kid. I had an early hustle because my mom had 3 kids. She didn't have extra money. She let us know early on. You want some money? You better babysit. You better take out some trash. You know, like figure out how to make money because we only have so much money and we got to pay these bills first. So it's nice that you want all this Guess jeans and Levi's and Michael Jordans, but I'm just letting you know I don't have the income for it. So me and my brothers early on, like newspaper route, taking out trash, picking up cans, whatever, you know. Yeah, whatever we had. My brothers were babysitting. They were like, "Oh, you making money babysitting? I'm gonna babysit too."
Right.
Yes, because I want some stuff. So I'm just saying that to say what he's feeling. That's what every kid feels when their parents sit them down and tell them, "We don't have money for that." What did his mom say? "Yeah, I know you want these Jordans for Christmas, but I'm telling you the truth now. I don't think I'm gonna have money for that." She's just being honest and truthful because you have to respect parents that don't not pay bills just to buy Jordans.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, I respect her for that.
But I mean, and even though he got millions later and stuff, he said he still remembered that anxiety about the worry about the money from when he was younger. So that kind of probably made him strong enough and content enough to get out there and do what he needed to do so that he would have money and wouldn't experience that feeling again.
So his mom on Christmas said, "I got $50 for you. I don't have money for these Jordans. Get whatever you want with this $50. Because again, like, his mom's like not trying to not get him something. She's just saying, "I can't get these Jordans, you know."
Get what you want.
Now this is what happened with the $50. I'm gonna read it. Look here, $50. She told him, "Go sorry,
Get whatever you want.
there you go." What the hell was I supposed to do with $50? I couldn't buy that starter for $50. He wanted a starter jacket. I couldn't get a pair of Jordans for $50. I couldn't get any of the things I wanted. Frustrated, I took the money and left the apartment, walking towards the other side of Mountain Park. I knew where the dope man stayed, and I handed him the money, and he handed me 2 tiny wrapped $50 slabs of crack cocaine. Now you owe me $50. Get it? He said. I sure did. That was all she wrote. The dope game was on and popping from that moment on, and there would never be any other sort of extracurricular activities for me again. But when I read that, I'm like, you have to realize that's so many people. That's so many people's lives. Sorry. Huh?
What did you like to see the movie on?
The yellow
And
whatever.
so,
The yellow app.
yeah, when he got the $50 slab,
Yellow movie app. It's yellow.
he gave him $50 worth and gave him a credit for another
Yeah,
$50. So
$5
that's
yellow
where
app.
he said, "You owe me $50." So he was already in debt to the dope man. He gave him the $50 that he purchased and fronted him a $50 slab where you have to pay him back for that slab. So
Yeah.
that's what keep getting you going back and back and back again.
But of course you're making money too, but you're spending money too. But I mean, I am not a judgmental person. I always feel like, thank God I have the mindset that I have, because I'm a hustler too, and I could see myself, when I read the book, I'm like, I could see myself doing it, because I hustle doing other stuff, even though it's not like something that I could see myself doing, but it's probably because it was just Alton we lived in.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? We didn't live downtown Chicago.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and I thank God I had a revenue of things I could do. Like, I went and got a job, and I had plenty of people to babysit. But what if you live somewhere where people want you to babysit, but they don't got babysitting money, and they're just giving you a can of soda, or hey, go to the store, here's some food stamps, like you can get yourself whatever you want. You know, like, I just think, like, I learned early on that I have to get what I have to
Living on
get.
campus at that time.
Yeah, I mean, I know you could have sold a bunch of dope on campus. Actually, I think my game could have been really We're gonna have to start this over. No, but when I read it, in my mind, I just kept thinking, I get it. This is what you do. But then I really, we're not to the part where I can really say I respect him just yet. But he does become a respectable person. He figures it out, because in the end of the day, you're still hurting people. Yeah, you're getting paid, you're doing whatever, but you're destroying lives and you're destroying families.
Exactly.
So I want to put that in, but I'm just saying, when I read it, I'm like, I get how it's might be hard to read, because it might be somebody that that has done something petty like this. And unfortunately, like rap, and I listen to rap, I ain't saying nothing bad. Some people are misleaded by lyrics. Lyrics and things like that. Yeah, and then they think like, I don't know. I just don't think they're really getting. Yes, I don't think they're really getting the whole picture. They just have this idea, like when we read Tiffany Haddish, and the guy was like, "I want to be a pimp."
Yeah, and he didn't know what he was doing. Apparently, if Tiffany was able to pull it.
Yeah, and I'm just saying, some people want to be selling some drugs, but they don't know what the hell they're doing either. Which probably would have been me if I was trying to do it. But I'm just saying. So that's why I'm saying, like, this book is good, because at the end of the day, if you were born in your 70s and you grew up in the 80s and 90s, you know people that this affected in some way or another, whether it was like very painful for you to think about or not. This is a part of life, and he is offering to share it with us. The story about how it began for him and how it ended up. And thank God it ended up great. He's got a great wife, he's got a great career, and he's out of that lifestyle. But it even says in some of his interviews, when I got out of jail, if I wouldn't have had my wife and the ability to be around her and made a conscious decision in my head to only associate with her for a while, it would have been different. And then he said, and I decided, like, I'm never going back to jail, so I did everything he played the game for a while, till he got that 3-year sentence. And he could have got 33 years, because it was murder in there too. But I'm just saying, he decided to learn from his mistakes, where some people just keep going back to it. But he also was in that situation where he had revenue, because his wife had invested, she has a makeup line, so they had money coming in. Plus I also respect him, because when he went to jail, everybody that was under him, because he had artists under him, he let them go. He set them up with someone that could help him. He wasn't trying to hold people back while he was in jail for 3 years, because he was like, I respect that you're good and I want you to make money, and I can't help you right now. So I feel like all these little decisions that he made,
he wasn't jealous of that.
That shows true character. He's got a good character. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I really respect about him. Yes.
A lot of people are not that smart. They cannot look forward like
and they always think about self first. So he could have been angry and kept them like, no, wait till I get out and it's gonna be big, and just kept leading them on. But he wanted them to get out there and make their money. He didn't want to hold them back.
Yeah, so that's why I'm saying, like, this book is good, because there's a good outcome, and when you read it, even though it's kind of boring sometimes, sorry Gucci, I love you, it ain't about that. But I think, like, some autobiographies are a little boring. Like when I read the Barack Obama autobiography, I'm sorry, you're boring. I love you, you're awesome president, but you're just too wordy for me, okay? But I read the book because I love you and I respect you and I want to know more about you, and that's why I read a lot of these books. Some are just easier. Some I'm just like, I want to know this person more. But when you read this book in your heart, you kind of want to know him a little bit more too, even though it's a little harder to read. What did you guys think?
I'm just anticipating if they
what's part 2?
Focus on his weight loss, because he was real heavy. I don't know if they get into that in the book.
They will. We will get into it. So the other thing that we're going to talk about is this. Like, Gucci Mane's a businessman, so he never was like into his drugs. But there was a drug that he was into, and that was lean. And what it is, it's like prescription cough syrup. I think it has codeine.
Codeine
and
promethazine. Codeine and promethazine.
Sprite or whatever.
Yeah, and that lean messes you up a lot. And it's kind of like, I think you can compare it to like, you can kind of compare it to heroin or cocaine. It's the same type of withdrawal type thing. And when he got in jail for that last time, when he changed his life, like he went through all his withdrawals, he started going up and down the steps, he he wanted to be healthier, and then he realized what lean was doing to him. But in his mind, he was like, I'm not on cocaine, I'm not on crack,
So it's okay.
I'm not really doing drugs. All I do is smoke weed, drink, do lean. I don't even think he drank. I think he did lean and weed.
And he really wasn't.
Yeah,
doing
I'm not
weed
trying to
at
put that
first.
on somebody.
A female introduced it to him, and
Yes.
he lied just to get close to her. Like, yeah, I smoke, when really
He didn't even smoke. It all started because he wanted this
Impress
relationship
her.
with somebody.
Yes.
And then but doesn't that always start like this?
Mhm.
That is how a lot of drug use starts. It
To
starts
impress
by
someone
impressing
else.
and wanting to be a part of
Impressing
something. Now,
somebody
he
else.
never really wanted to be part of like a guy clique, but he was like, I'm trying to get with this chick.
Yes.
So that's how that
Mhm.
began, you know. And I also want to say, like, there was this gas station where they used to
Texaco.
do. Yeah, so there's a lot about this gas station. There's a whole chapter on it.
That's where he first went to jail at that Texaco,
Mhm.
and he stated that he mentions that in a lot of his raps. And
Yes.
I kind of went back and listened to some of his songs,
Yeah.
and he does talk about the Texaco, but he said he wanted his raps to be realistic. He wanted to rap about the places he knew, and he was like, he wondering if Mr. and Miss Kim knew that they made that store so popular.
Yeah.
That gas
They
station.
probably don't know what's going on, but
The
that
gas
store's in a
station,
lot of
that's
songs.
where he first got caught with the police and some drugs at the Texaco.
Yeah, a lot of stuff happened at that Texaco.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was this thing at school with this guy Javon, and they had to go beat him up
Go-
because he beat
go
them
fight
up, and he had
and
people on the
that.
school bus that weren't even in
In
school to take
one
care of
of them
business.
fight,
And then they said,
beating y'all up too.
And before they got off the bus, they were like, "Listen, whoever's on this bus is part of this
It's
now."
gonna fight. If y'all
And,
don't fight, y'all get beat up too. And they just went to have a big fight.
The bus driver, he knew.
Yeah,
Hope
and the
y'all win. Good luck. Hope y'all win. Don't come back
Because
losers.
it was like a super bogus thing that went down, and then they just had to like do what they had to do.
Yes.
But so the first record he made was it LaFleur?
Yeah.
Because that's why this
His
is
real
chapter.
name is LaFleur. Now she didn't explain to you.
Yeah,
that
go ahead.
Gucci Mane added. It really was kind of a product of his dad's or granddad's. They always called him Gucci Man because he was so fashionable, and Gucci added the E on the end of his to add a little southern flair to it, and it was like Gucci Mane or whatever. But his name originated through his grandfather that passed it to his dad. Then he had a cousin they called Lil Gucci, so it's pretty much a part of their family, the Gucci name, I guess.
Yes, and I think it's weird because people that don't read his book, they just think they know a little bit about him.
I
They
really
think
didn't know his last
Yeah,
name
they'll-
was LaFleur. That sounds like a French or something last name, LaFleur.
so. They think like his name is like just like a family name, but it actually is because Grandpa went to Italy.
Mhm.
Grandpa bought all these Gucci shoes. Grandpa liked nice clothes, and then Grandpa introduced that to everybody else and made them realize like how nice something like this also is.
She said his first name, Radrick, is a product of like
Both
his dad's
Vicky
name
and-
and his,
yeah.
and his mom's name. I can't remember his dad's name, but it's Vicky and whatever his
Yeah,
dad's
I don't
name.
remember either.
remember either.
Sorry,
I mean,
sorry. We
sorry.
get the book and read it.
Right.
So, you know, this is the beginning of his hustle. He talks a little bit about his hustle, talks about his first record. Now, he didn't start out like in the music business because he felt like, oh, I'm a rapper. He actually felt like rapping isn't what I want to do because rappers don't really make money. And I'm always trying to make money. But he did it because I guess it just, he wanted to get somebody
he
else on the
wanted
rap
some
game. He
money,
wanted to
yeah.
be in that part where you're just making money off people.
He
Even
was
though
looking at the producer's
Yes.
aspect, he didn't want to be the artist. He wanted to be the man in charge of the artist. Like he would look at groups and see who the manager was, who the big money people was, and he wanted to be those people instead of the actual artist.
because he felt like they weren't making money.
Mm-mm.
But the person he was trying to put on, and he had bought some beats, so he spent that money. Then he had to go to jail for the summer. Then
Yeah.
when he got out of jail, the guy decided, I don't want to be a rapper no more. I got a regular job. I'm making money. He was like, well, dang, I got all
I
these
bought
beats.
all these beats
So
for $1,000.
So then he was like, well, he started talking. Oh, so we only got a little time before this shuts off. So then when he got these beats, then he was talking with the guy. Is it Jay?
Zay.
Zay. So he was talking with Jay, and Zay was like, you need to just, like,
Do it
what you're
yourself.
doing is good. Like, why don't you do this? And then that's kind of how it started. And then he got positive feedback. He did enjoy like that because sometimes I think people need encouragement. Like you need that encouragement, you need that positive feedback, and he wasn't about to get it because he was great at selling drugs.
Then he had the opportunity to
But then he got it
more
doing that.
drugs,
Yeah.
to get more CDs and pass out. He made the conscious decision to get more CDs and posters and promote his music instead of going to buy more drugs and re-up